All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the early life of the Prophet Muhammad,
We are.
but we're focusing on the women who raised him,
Yeah,
his birth mother, Amina, and his wet nurse, Halima al-Sadiya.
that's right.
Now, we're looking at this unique YouTube lecture,
Mm-hmm.
and it really shines a light on their roles
It does.
in shaping this incredibly important figure in history.
Absolutely. It's amazing
Yeah.
how their stories are just woven into Muhammad's life.
Right.
Even though, like, their time with him, individually was short.
Yeah.
Amina dies when he's young.
Yeah.
Halima comes back into the story, like, decades later.
Right.
But still, they both left a lasting impact.
Yeah.
They had a huge impact on who he became.
It's a perspective we don't often get, right?
We don't.
It really humanizes this figure
It does.
who's often seen as like larger than life.
Yeah, totally.
So let's start with Amina.
Okay.
The lecture paints a really moving picture of her situation,
It does.
especially in pre-Islamic Arabia.
Yeah, to really understand her story, we have to kind of like immerse ourselves in the realities of that world.
Okay.
Imagine pre-Islamic Arabia,
Yeah.
tribal societies,
Yeah.
limited resources,
Of course.
struggles for survival were constant.
Right.
Now picture a young widow, right?
Yeah.
All alone, raising a child.
It must have been incredibly difficult,
It would have been,
especially as a woman in that society.
especially as a woman, yeah.
I mean, did she have any support system?
She had some family, of course,
Right.
but it was a precarious position to be in, honestly.
Yeah.
The source really highlights how vulnerable orphans were at this time.
Right.
They often faced exploitation and neglect.
It's really sad.
It is. And, even some verses in the Quran
Yeah.
that address Muhammad's early life as an orphan,
Right.
they speak to this societal disregard.
Yeah.
They call for compassion towards orphans.
Yeah.
So that's really powerful.
It is. It makes those verses even more powerful. It's exactly. They're not just these abstract teachings.
They're not.
They're reflecting a very real social problem
They are.
that Muhammad himself experienced.
Absolutely.
So that vulnerability is key
Yeah.
to understanding why Amina sent Muhammad
Okay.
to be nursed by a Bedouin woman,
Right.
which was common practice back then, right?
Very common. And for good reason.
Yeah, I remember reading that the desert environment was
Yeah.
actually considered healthier for infants.
That's right. That dry desert air.
Yeah.
Much better, much healthier.
Yeah.
And not just that, but it also allowed the children
Yeah.
to learn Arabic
Mhm.
from the Bedouin tribes who spoke the purest form.
Oh, wow.
It was almost like
Yeah.
sending your child to a specialized school.
That's a cool way to put it.
Right.
It's healthcare and language immersion all in one.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Right.
So this is where Halima al-Sadiya comes into the picture.
She does.
Tell me about her.
Okay, so Halima was from the Banu Sa'd tribe. They lived in a remote area,
Okay.
far from the cities.
Right.
Like really isolated.
Yeah.
The source even says that they were so isolated
Yeah.
that, like, major events could happen
Wow.
and they wouldn't even know.
Completely off the grid?
Totally off the grid.
That's amazing.
So how did Bedouin women, like Halima,
Right?
how did they choose which children to nurse?
Yeah. Was it random?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It was a big decision.
Okay.
Lots of practical considerations.
Oh, really?
They looked for children from wealthy families,
Ah, okay.
hoping for a good return
Oh.
on their time and care.
Right.
They were also drawn to children who showed signs of, like, leadership potential.
Oh, interesting.
Someone who might become powerful.
So they were looking for a promising investment opportunity.
In a way, yeah.
So where did Muhammad fit in?
Yeah.
He was an orphan.
He was.
No wealth,
Look.
no powerful connections.
You're right. He was overlooked
Yeah.
because he lacked those worldly advantages.
Right. Ironic, right?
It is.
The source even mentions other women saying things like, what can his mother offer us?
Oh, wow.
He's an orphan, no money, no family, no power.
So that's harsh.
It was a harsh reality back then.
So how did Halima end up with Muhammad then?
Okay, so there's a twist to the story.
Okay.
Halima and her husband Harith,
Yeah.
they arrived in Mecca
Yeah.
during a famine.
Oh, no.
They were struggling to feed their own family,
Right.
including their infant son, Abdullah.
Ah,
They desperately needed to find a nursing child.
right.
But other families saw their poverty and they were hesitant
Of course.
to give them their children.
I bet that was disheartening
It must have been.
to be facing hardship
Yeah.
and then to be, like, rejected just
Exactly.
adds insult to injury.
Absolutely. They were essentially the last choice
Oh,
for many families.
right.
So as the other women were choosing,
Yeah.
Halima noticed Amina
Yeah.
still holding Muhammad.
Hoping someone would take him. She
Ah.
turned to her husband and said, "Look, there's this one boy, an orphan.
Wow.
We both lack resources, I know.
Yeah.
But I can't bear to go back empty-handed.
Right.
Maybe there's something special about him.
Wow.
Maybe some good will come from this."
She had no idea
Right.
how true that would be.
It's remarkable.
It really is.
Like she sensed something extraordinary,
Yeah.
even without knowing his destiny.
Yeah. So what happened when they left Mecca?
Okay, so almost immediately,
Yeah.
their fortunes changed.
Okay.
As they were heading back to the desert,
Uh-huh.
Halima's husband went to check on their camel,
Yeah.
and he was astonished.
Why?
It was full of milk.
What?
Yeah, they all drank their fill.
Wow.
And this camel, which had been malnourished,
Right.
seemed revitalized.
It's almost like the animal was responding to Muhammad's presence.
It's amusing.
So, did they attribute these changes to Muhammad specifically?
You know, the source describes the people of that time as being pretty superstitious.
Right.
So they recognized that something good was happening,
Yeah.
but they may not have fully grasped
Okay.
his spiritual significance.
I see.
You know, they were experiencing the baraka,
The blessing.
yeah, the blessing, but without really understanding the source.
Right. So they were living the reality of it
Yeah.
without necessarily attributing it to him.
Exactly.
What other blessings did they experience?
Well, the baraka, it went beyond just their family.
Oh, wow.
When they got back to their village,
Yeah.
they found that their sheep,
Uh-huh.
which had been grazing on barren land,
Okay.
came back full and healthy.
No way.
And the areas where the sheep had grazed
Yeah.
had transformed
Into what?
lush meadows.
That's incredible.
I know.
It really does seem like the land was responding to him.
It really does.
And this is all before he's even 4 years old.
That's right. But their lives were about to take a dramatic turn,
Oh, okay.
as we'll see.
Okay, so last we left off,
Yeah,
young Muhammad is thriving under Halima's care,
he is.
and her family is experiencing all these amazing blessings.
They are.
But you said things were about to change
Yeah.
with this incident that
Yeah.
really shook them up.
Uh,
What happened?
so Halima herself recounts this event,
Okay.
and it's become a part of Islamic tradition.
Okay.
One day,
Yeah.
Muhammad was playing
Yeah.
with Halima's son.
Okay.
Two men appeared,
Okay.
seemingly out of nowhere.
Oh, wow.
They were described as wearing white robes,
Uh-huh.
having this otherworldly aura.
That sounds like angels. Is that
That-
how it's traditionally interpreted?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So according to Halima,
Yeah.
these men took Muhammad,
Okay.
laid him down gently,
Okay.
and opened up his chest.
Whoa.
Now, Halima's son saw all this,
Right.
and he ran back to his mother,
Of course.
terrified,
Yeah.
claiming that these men had cut Muhammad open.
Oh, my gosh.
So Halima and Harith, fearing the worst,
Right.
they rushed to find Muhammad.
I can't imagine.
What a terrifying moment.
What did they find?
When they got there,
Yeah.
they found him lying there,
Okay.
pale,
Right.
clearly shaken,
Yeah.
but alive.
Oh, thank goodness.
The source mentions
Yeah.
that they saw what looked like surgical stitching on his chest.
That's chilling.
I know.
What did these men do to him?
So according to the account,
Yeah.
they removed Muhammad's heart
Wow.
and took something from it.
Okay.
One of them said, "This is the portion of evil from you."
Whoa.
And they cast it aside,
Okay.
and then they placed his heart back in his chest and closed it up.
What an image.
Wow.
Like this purification, removing any potential for evil.
It's powerful.
It's almost like preparing him
Yeah.
for something special.
It is profound. It's a concept that's been interpreted in so many ways.
Right.
But imagine being Halima and her husband
Oh my gosh, yeah.
witnessing this. They'd already seen so many inexplicable blessings
Right.
since taking him in.
Yeah.
And now this.
It really makes you wonder
It does.
how much they understood
Right.
about what he would become.
Yeah, it's easy for us to look back,
Right.
knowing who he became.
Yeah.
But at that moment,
Right.
they were just simple Bedouin people.
Trying to make sense of this.
Exactly.
Did this incident change how they felt about caring for him?
It seems so.
Okay.
The source says they returned Muhammad to Amina sooner than planned.
Oh, wow.
Remember, they were very superstitious.
Yeah.
It's possible they feared he was cursed
Right.
or that something bad would happen to him
Yeah.
while he was in their care.
That's understandable.
So they went back to Mecca
Yeah.
and told Amina what happened.
I bet that was a difficult conversation.
Right. Who wants to tell a mother that?
Right. That strange men cut open their child's chest.
Exactly.
What was Amina's reaction?
It's remarkable. She insisted that her son was blessed,
No way.
not cursed.
Interesting.
She even recounted the miraculous events surrounding his birth.
Like what?
She talked about how she saw a light
Yeah.
emanating from her womb
Wow.
that illuminated the palaces of the world.
That's amazing.
She knew deep down
Yeah.
that her son was special.
Wow. She even said, "Don't say my child is cursed.
She did.
He is blessed.
Yes.
And I know that something extraordinary will come from him."
That's powerful.
It is. It really is.
It's a mother's intuition
Yeah.
and unwavering faith in her child's destiny.
Even when faced with this frightening event,
Exactly.
it gives us a glimpse into Muhammad's extraordinary nature.
It does.
Even as a child,
Yeah.
it seems he was surrounded by miracles from the beginning.
From the very beginning.
So it's a blend of the ordinary and the extraordinary.
Yeah.
On one hand, he's just a child being raised by his family.
Right.
But then there are these events that hint at something bigger.
They do.
So what happened next? Did Halima and her family stay in touch?
The source doesn't give us specifics
Okay.
about any interactions over the next few years.
Okay.
What we do know
Yeah.
is that tragedy struck when Muhammad was 6.
Oh, no.
His mother, Amina, died
Oh,
while on a journey to Medina,
I see.
leaving him an orphan once again
That's so sad.
to lose his father before he was born.
Right.
And then his mother at such a young age. He must have felt so alone.
Yeah.
He was then raised by his grandfather,
Okay.
Abdul Muttalib.
Okay.
But he also died
Oh, no.
a couple of years later.
This poor child.
It left him in a vulnerable position
Right.
those early years,
Yeah.
marked by loss and hardship.
But like you said,
Yeah.
this deep dive comes full circle.
It does.
How does Halima re-enter the story?
Okay, so fast forward
Okay.
about 54 years.
Wow.
Muhammad, now a prophet,
Okay.
is returning to Mecca
Yeah.
after victory at the Battle of Hunain.
Okay.
He decides to take a detour
Oh.
to visit his mother's grave in
Wow.
Abwa, a village on the way to Mecca.
So retracing those steps.
Very powerful, right?
Very powerful, yeah.
The companions traveling with him
Yeah.
see him suddenly veer off the path.
Oh.
They follow him in silence
Wow.
for miles.
Not daring to question him.
They don't say a word.
Wow.
He leads them through this difficult terrain
Yeah.
until they reach a grave.
Okay.
It is marked,
Okay.
but no one knows who's buried there.
Wow.
They watch
Yeah.
as Muhammad just breaks down,
Oh.
weeping uncontrollably.
Oh, my.
His beard soaked with tears.
What a moment.
The companions,
Yeah.
moved by his grief,
Yeah.
they start weeping with him.
I'm getting chills just imagining that.
It's such a raw and human moment.
Yeah.
Even amidst victory and leadership,
Right.
there's still space for this deep personal grief.
Absolutely. Did he tell them why he was so emotional?
He did.
Okay.
He told them
Yeah.
it was the grave of his mother, Amina,
Wow.
and that he had asked God for permission to visit her.
For all these years.
Decades of pain that he
Yeah.
carried with him.
Wow.
Pain he rarely spoke about.
It really shows the depth of his love for his mother,
It does.
even after all that time.
It's amazing.
So where does Halima fit into all of this? Like,
It's-
you said the reunion happened shortly after?
It does. During this same trip back to Mecca,
Okay.
Muhammad is sitting with his companions
Okay.
when a woman approaches,
Okay.
claiming to be the sister of their leader.
Wow.
The companions are confused.
I bet they were. Who was she?
It was Shema,
Okay.
Halima's daughter,
No way.
the same one who had seen that cloud
Right.
following Muhammad as a child.
That's incredible.
She had come looking for him.
Wow. What happened when the companions told Muhammad about her?
He asked them to bring her in.
He must have been astonished
Uh,
after 60 years.
Imagine that reunion.
I can't even imagine.
They hadn't seen each other
Right.
since he was a young boy.
Living with them in the desert.
To confirm her identity, he asked her
Yeah.
if she remembered a mark
Okay.
that he had left on her.
Okay.
She showed him her arm
Yeah.
where he had playfully bitten her as a child.
Aw, that's a sweet detail.
It's nice.
Brings a bit of warmth
Yeah.
to this reunion after so long.
It shows that even though their lives
Yeah.
went in different directions,
Yeah.
There was still a
Yeah,
connection.
exactly. What happened then?
The source describes Muhammad
Yeah.
jumping up,
Yeah.
embracing her.
Uh,
And then, in a gesture of deep respect,
yeah.
he spread his own cloak on the ground for her
Wow.
to sit on.
That's
They
amazing.
sat and talked for a long time.
I can only imagine what that conversation was like.
Right.
What a range of emotions.
It speaks to the impact
Yeah.
of those early years.
What happened to Shema after that?
Muhammad gave her a choice.
Okay.
She could stay with him in Medina,
Right.
where she would be honored and cared for,
Of course.
or she could return to her people. She chose to return to her family,
Oh, okay.
and Muhammad ensured her safe passage.
That's really kind of him.
He sent her back
Yeah.
with provisions
Okay.
and an escort
Wow.
for protection.
What a beautiful gesture.
Yeah.
It shows compassion
Yeah,
and respect for her wishes.
absolutely.
It also mirrors how Halima cared for him,
Right.
ensuring his safety and well-being.
Exactly.
But what about Halima?
Yeah.
Did she and Muhammad ever have that reunion? Did they ever get that reunion?
They did, and it's a really special moment. It says a lot about their relationship.
Okay.
So not long after Shema left,
Yeah.
another woman approached
Okay.
Muhammad's encampment,
All right.
but this time it was an older woman.
I'm going to guess
Yeah.
this was Halima.
You got it.
What happened?
It was Halima.
Okay.
Now, the source doesn't describe their first exchange,
Right.
but it does highlight a very touching detail.
Okay.
One of the companions, Jabir ibn Abdullah,
Okay.
he saw this whole thing.
Yeah.
He described seeing Muhammad preparing food,
Okay.
even slicing meat himself. And then when this older woman came closer,
Yeah.
Muhammad spread out his own garment for her to sit on.
Wow. That's incredible.
And he even said, "Welcome to my mother. Welcome to my mother."
That's so moving.
It is.
He treated her like royalty,
I know, right?
even though they were in a military encampment.
It shows you the depth of respect
Yeah.
and affection
Yeah.
he had for her.
Absolutely, and it gets even sweeter.
Oh, yeah.
Jabir goes on to say
Yeah.
that he saw Muhammad serving Halima the food himself,
Yeah.
making sure she was comfortable and taken care of.
That's beautiful.
And then he sat and talked with her,
Yeah.
just showing her the utmost honor and love.
What a reunion, right?
I know, after all those years,
I know.
all the ups and downs,
All the trials and triumphs.
to be reunited in such a loving way.
I know. It really speaks to
Yeah.
the lasting impact of those early years.
Absolutely. I mean, Halima took him in when no one else would.
When he was so vulnerable.
Cared for him like her own.
Like her own son.
It's clear he never forgot that.
Never.
It's heartwarming to see how he repaid that kindness.
Yeah.
You know, not just with material gifts,
Right.
but with genuine affection and respect.
Earlier you mentioned that
Yeah.
Halima visited Muhammad in Mecca
Yeah.
during a famine.
Right.
And he gave her sheep and a camel.
Yeah. To help her family.
Yeah. And that shows
Yeah.
this pattern of care and generosity.
Absolutely.
But this reunion after the Battle of Hunain
Yeah.
feels different.
It does.
Like more poignant.
More meaningful.
I mean, he had just visited his birth mother's grave.
Right. A moment of such sadness.
So much sadness.
Reflection.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
his wet nurse, the woman who raised him,
Right. Appears.
it feels almost like fate, you know?
Yeah.
A reminder that even in the midst of loss,
Yeah.
there's still love and connection to be found.
It really illustrates the cyclical nature of life.
It does.
He honors his birth mother
Yeah.
and then reconnects with this other mother figure.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it feels like a completion of a story.
I know anything about Halima after this.
Yeah, what happened to her?
Well, the source doesn't give us a lot of details
Okay.
about the rest of her life,
Right.
but it's believed that she and her family
Yeah,
embraced Islam.
that's amazing.
The source does specifically say that her husband Harith
Okay.
became Muslim,
Wow.
as did her children.
That's beautiful. They
Right.
welcomed Muhammad into their family
They did.
when he was an orphan.
When he needed them.
And years later,
Yeah.
they embraced the faith he brought.
It's really powerful, isn't it?
It shows how small acts of kindness
Yeah,
can ripple outward
absolutely.
and have this huge impact.
Both Amina and Halima,
Yeah,
they saw something special in Muhammad
right.
when others dismissed him.
They chose compassion and care
And he did.
when he needed it most.
It's a reminder to never underestimate anyone,
Absolutely.
no matter their circumstances.
We should all try to look beyond worldly status,
Yes.
recognize that inherent worth.
In everyone.
This has been an amazing journey.
It has.
Learning about the mothers of the Prophet Muhammad.
It's given us a new perspective
It
on this
has
incredibly important figure.
reminded us of his humanity,
Yeah.
his capacity for love and grief.
And the influence of these women
Yeah,
who raised him.
I'll be thinking about their stories for a long time.
Me too. It's a good reminder that even the most influential figures
Yeah,
start as children
shaped by the people around them.
by love, loss, and kindness.
Absolutely.